When it comes to the big questions in life, people tend to turn towards two major sources, religion and science. For over a century now, there has been a debate among the American people of if God or evolution created life, and which of the two should be taught to children in schools. By analyzing the competitive and selective forces these two groups of thought have exerted on each other, we can begin to have an idea of why they exist in the present form and how they may change going forward. In order to understand the evolution of culture, we must first understand biological evolution. Evolution is the process through which species change and diversify over time. Its primary unit is the gene. Broadly speaking, variations in genes lead to phenotypic variations. Competition for limited resources leads to the selection of favorable phenotypes through increased odds of survival and reproduction. This is natural selection. In the selfish gene, Dawkins conceptualized the unit of cultural evolution as the mean, which is comparable to the gene in biological evolutions. This leads to the selection of some ideas over others. While more recent work by authors such as Jablonka have pointed out that cultural evolution may not be so particulate as presented by this mean conception, it is still a useful tool for considering cultural phenomena. Christianity has been a major component of culture in the U.S. ever since the Puritans landed in the 1600s. In the following centuries, European immigrants and their descendants would spread across the continent, bringing their Christian beliefs with them.
In his book on cultural evolution, author Moussaoui characterizes the selective favorability of cultural phenomena. According to his framework, the selective favorability of Christianity in U.S. culture can be traced to both content biases, such as its message of hope and its moral principles, and frequency dependency biases, due to its geographic spread and competition among churches for members. Prior to Darwin, many U.S. scientists believed in the specific creation of each species by a divine power. However, upon the publication of On the Origin of Species, this began to change. In the years after this publication, belief in evolution spread rapidly in the scientific community. The strong scientific evidence presented by Darwin gave his ideas selective efficacy in the minds of other scientists, increasing their likelihood of being accepted and passed on. The spread was so rapid that by 1880, the anti-evolution journal The Presbyterian Observer could only identify 2 working American naturalists who did not accept some form of evolution. The spread of belief in evolution in the scientific community led to an increasing integration of the theory into scientific textbooks. The integration of these ideas into the education system made them selectively favorable in the culture at large. The relationship between evolution and Christianity began to become more antagonistic in the 1920s with the rise of fundamentalist Christianity. Many Americans opposed the cultural changes that were going on in society and felt that a return to fundamental Christian beliefs was important. Influential politicians opposed evolution and managed to ban the teaching of it in school. The defining moment of this cultural conflict was the Scopes Monkey trial, where a teacher, as well as the entire concept of teaching evolution, was put on trial. This trial set the tone for this debate for decades to come as one of extreme opinions and heated tempers on both sides. And where the law prohibiting the teaching of evolution was upheld at the Scopes trial, later court cases reversed that decision, and today every state is required to teach evolution.
Today, around 40 to 60% of the population accepts the scientific theory of evolution. Belief in evolution is least popular among white evangelical Protestants, but most popular among white mainline Protestants and the religiously unaffiliated. Ideas about evolution are more fit among the religiously unaffiliated because they do not have to reconcile those beliefs with religious beliefs, and mainline Protestants have been willing to reconcile beliefs about evolution and Christianity since ideas of evolution were first proposed. On the other hand, white evangelical Protestants have tended to have a more literal interpretation of the Bible and thus find it more at odds with science. There is also conformity bias at play because it takes time and effort to pay attention to the scientific understanding of evolution, so people are more likely to simply adopt the views of those around them. The belief in evolution guided by a supreme being, also known as theistic evolution, can be seen as a hybridization between the belief of an evolution by purely natural processes and a belief in all life forms being created directly by God. It has been selected for because it can be supported by both religious and scientifically minded Americans. It also provides a solution to those who are skeptical that something as complicated as the massive amount of biological diversity that exists today could have arisen completely by chance. America is slowly becoming more secular, while evangelical Protestantism is holding its own in terms of number of believers. At the same time, theistic evolution has been selectively successful in terms of being able to combine scientific and religious beliefs. So any future changes will probably involve a belief in theistic evolution growing among evangelicals and other denominations, with the unaffiliated population continuing to believe predominantly in atheistic evolution, and the more evangelical populations adhering to more fundamental Christian beliefs.